Kia ora guys, welcome back to the Black Jersey. My name's Max and I'm the host over here at this channel. I don't normally do straight up post-match reactions to test matches, but this one over here has got us a lot to unpack. This nation here, Wales, they have been through the absolute ringer in the last few years. Financial issues, problems of bullying in the WRU behind the scenes, club level problems with finance as well, amateur rugby taking over the game completely, and they've done it. They've beaten England by 20-9. It's a bit of a case of rediscovered identities, I think, at the end of this test for both teams potentially. Even though my hay fever is not allowing me to get sentences out fully right now, I do think England have rediscovered their identity as a team with a lot of power that has never quite been able to nail it, whereas Wales, they have really rediscovered their identity as an underdog with a lot of heart, a lot of passion, and raw will to win. The Gatlin effect, I think, might potentially be back. This 20-9 win will mean so much to the Welsh. I left Twitter because I kept hearing all this talk of, oh, rugby is dying, blah, blah. It was affecting my perception on the game pretty badly, and a lot of that talk was coming from Welsh and English fans. English fans may be continuing that talk after today, but I think it's unfair to say that because England did do a lot of things right. They were really good at building scoreboard pressure in that first half, and even when Wales had possession, England with the 52% of it, they always had their presence felt throughout that first half. Marcus Smith was controlling everything pretty nicely throughout the first half. Jamie Blamire is definitely starting to step up in the set piece, and so having that wee little 9-6 lead was pretty fair for England, I think, because they were doing all of that stuff in the tight spaces pretty well. Wales, though, they really carried themselves into the game with the true patience that has been, I guess, characteristic of the Gatlin era, and I don't think anybody sums that up more than Jack Morgan. I'm a lot larger than Jack Morgan. He is only 5'11", 102 kgs, but as an open side flanker, it doesn't matter how big you are, what kind of size you are. Heart is the most important thing about playing as an open side flanker. Jack Morgan, with so much heart, 63 metres run, 23 tackles made, player of the match, he was the guy that summed up all the heart that Wales wanted to play with. In just his 10th test cap, he did a phenomenal job as the captain. A tiger at the breakdown of the first half, making all the tackles and setting up Gareth Davis for an amazing try in the start of the second half. About 48 minutes on the clock, Gareth Davis, despite all the retirements of the likes of Alan Wynne-Jones, Reece Webb, Justin Tipperick, he comes through, he runs the support lines he's always been known for, and I think Gareth Davis, after a bit of an intense summer, is starting to get back to his old self. Wales have also been through the ringer in terms of their training regime, going across all kinds of different climates to just adjust to high-level intensity workouts in all kind of places, and that'll be really good preparation for the World Cup. Wales, I think I got a bit excited for them, and I got a bit of a feeling of a false dawn after the Six Nations started to happen, and over the period of, I guess, the Rugby Championship, Super Rugby, ever since the Six Nations has ended, I've been messaging people have been messaging me, we've had genuine discussions about the possibility of England being knocked out of the pool stage by Argentina, Samoa, Japan, the likes, whereas some people have genuinely come across with the perception that Wales might be in danger of finishing 4th at the pool stage behind Georgia, Fiji, Australia. I think Australia had really better start taking Wales as a serious threat, because this is the team that you can never write off. This is payback for pessimists who are really not liking Wales' chances. Though they may still be at risk of a pool stage exit, this is just one game. I wouldn't get too carried away, but this is a team you can never write off. I do want to say as well that Henry Thomas was huge changing the scrum. The starting props weren't exactly the best at the set piece, and he really came on, delivered the goods over there. Quite interesting to see George North moving to flanker when Mason Grady came on as well. The commentators were starting to think at first, oh, is Mason Grady in the second row? It was a bit of a pretty good laugh, that one, that's for sure. George North getting a try as well. Just amazing scoreboard pressure. Welsh rugby, just they copied the English in that second half. Started to build the pressure, started to control the game, and nobody epitomised the Gatlin effect in this game more than Dan Biggar, who looked so much calmer than he had throughout the Six Nations after replacing Sam Costello over the bench. Costello, though, he did do a pretty good job at 10, despite looking a little bit like James Davis there, rather. Some of the English forwards, though, after not really coping with the resurgence of the Welsh energy, I think may have failed the test ahead of tomorrow's World Cup squad naming. Tom Pearson, Theo Dan, the likes of them weren't really looking too world class, and I think that this World Cup may be a little too early for those guys to show their prowess in the set piece and at the breakdown. They're still young guys, so it's not a lost cause for them at all if they are named in the World Cup squad. As for the rest of the replacements, though, for England, they did not really bring on that much, and the handling errors weren't too good. Joe Cokanasiga had a few shockers, as did Guy Porter. Freddie Stewart wasn't even that reliable under the high ball either, which is a bit of a scary thing because they've become very reliant on him to save them from the high ball in the backfield. England, not all hope is lost for them, though. We did see really positive signs, I do believe. And even though Louis Rees-Zammit's final try attempt was disallowed as his fingers just separated from the ball for a slight wee moment, England shouldn't be too worried about the margin of 11 points at the end of that, despite the fact that it could have been larger. Things could have been worse. Wales, this may not be a sign that they're about to top their pool. This may just be a one-off incident, but whatever we gain from this incident, we understand that it's going to have positive long-term effects. The issues in Wales have been something that's going to need a top-down shift, and after a whole decade of just trotting out the same old players all the time, they looked refreshed, confident, calm, and most importantly, they got the win for Lee Halfpenny's 100th Test cap for Wales. He'd been in the 90s for a wee while after injury, so he'll be very happy to have passed that milestone with a victory, because this is just the second win that Warren Gatland has had since coming back to Wales. This will be huge for them. England, not all hopes lost though. Just go back to the drawing board, see what happened in the first half. They were getting very good at mastering that inside pass, but they need to add more layers to this attack structure that they're developing under Nick Evans, which could potentially have very good results. 20-9 final score. As I said, I don't normally make videos straight after games, but I just had a few raw feelings, I guess, to get off my chest because I feel like both teams are starting to rediscover their identities, and I've got good hopes for them. I'll be performing an analysis video with all the footage, examining how the tries were scored, examining what went right and what went wrong after the 2 tests played in the Summer Nations series, so make sure to subscribe to my channel to keep an eye on that. And wow, I better, I guess, start examining everything, see how that all went, because I'm going to be covering the World Cup with several analysis videos and just giving my thoughts on how things are going for all these teams. Thank you very much for viewing the channel, guys. Really appreciate it. See you later.